Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for coming. Right, thank you all for coming. We don't have a large turnout as we expected with the rain and all the rest of it. And I think actually having a small turnout is probably in our favour, because it means that we're not doing anything terribly wrong. And we don't have a crime wave or anything like that that usually draws people to meetings. So thank you all for coming. I'd just like to take any apologies that might be needing to be registered. I have apologies from Tim Trulak, he's flying back from his European holiday this evening. And I think Andrew Watts also expresses his apologies.
And Josh is
okay, right. So Josh Wrench can't change the airline schedules. Anyone else? Okay, so we have 3 apologies. Thank you. I'd also like just to ask if we can please confirm the minutes of the previous AGM. They were posted online on the links given. Are there any questions around that or a proposal? Any questions? No. Can I have somebody please to propose those minutes? Philippa. Second. Colin. Thank you very much. Right. Just to thank you, a couple of thank yous for this evening to Carpos Primary for the use of the hall, to Contact for their security and their pups who are very cute. I think that's always an easy thing in Carpos. To Cool Ideas, there is Wi-Fi here tonight, and also to Nan Roberts Estates for loaning the microphone. So thank you very much. Lastly, also to Everlytic for sponsoring our emails. We do appreciate that, and it does help us get words out.
I think the mic's on.
Do you need it?
Yes, okay, how do
we switch it on?
There's a silver button. Thank you.
So this doesn't do anything? Sorry about that. Different silver button. Right, how's that? Is that better? Is that better? Everyone here? Okay. Right, we're going to try and keep this meeting as short and as efficient as possible, because I'm going to show you more of better things to do and homes to go to. Right. I have posted the chair's report online, so I don't want to read it all to you. It will be terribly boring. You're welcome to go to the site and download it if you wish. But I just want to say that we're very privileged to live in Parkhurst. We've got a wonderful community here. Our neighbourhood is diverse, but it's also very strong. And the fact that there are such robust debates that happen not only on social media, but also when we get together in groups and so on, is a testimony to the fact that people still care about the neighbourhood and want to see the best done for it. So for that, I thank you. We've survived another year. As ever, there have been challenges that have come along, some of them in town planning terms, some in terms of commercial developments. All sorts of things come our way, but each time we take them and we deal with them as best we can. Not always perfectly, that is for sure, but we do the best we can with the resources and the people at our disposal. So for everyone who's got involved, who's given us input and help and advice, thank you very much for that. There are also, given the nature of the city and a city of this size and complexity, there are also challenges that we know we face that are at this stage beyond our ability to deal with and to fix as much as we'd like to. You think about the ageing infrastructure that we have in the area, you think about the Brampton Sprate and the environmental interventions that are necessary. The recreation centre at Parkhurst needs an enormous amount of work. It's very well used. And we do have hopefully some exciting announcements about that coming up. Things like our pavements and our walkways are a huge problem. People tend to build and plant all over them with multiple pedestrians, which is an issue. And of course there is the commercial strip along the 4th, also along the 6th. We do work where we can with the businesses in the neighbourhood, and we endeavour to keep them working with us. It's not always possible, but more and more we are seeing these businesses come to the party. So thank you for that too. I must express particular thanks, I think, to Councillor Trulak, who has been very good at informing the community that there are things that impact us. He also helps to guide us in terms of how to get the best out of the city, and he has effected introductions between ourselves and the city in terms of getting things done in our community. Certainly not to diminish Paul Johnson's input in terms of Rosie Park at all, but I think the fact that Tim has been able to do a bit of butt kicking where necessary has certainly helped us to achieve a lot in the neighbourhood, so thank you to him for that. The Praboa committee has been fantastic as ever. Everyone has day jobs, everyone is very busy, yet they still find time to do what they can. Chris Diamond, sitting over there, has been very good at keeping us on the straight and narrow in terms of our legal status, assisting us with contracts and agreements and all sorts of other things. Andrew Watts took over the finance portfolio. He's put us onto Sage. It's automated a great deal. It's made it very easy to keep track of things. Payments and so on can be effected much more efficiently. Greg Hirschman continues to look after building and town planning related matters, which is a thankless task, but enormously important in the neighbourhood. Natalie Zimmerman at the environment portfolio. She's been a huge asset to Scrape Day and to working with the city as well in terms of getting things done along the streets and trying to keep a healthy environment. Also the clean-up crew that she got over in Parkhurst. Lizette Watts, I'm sure you all know her name. She's the person who sits behind all our events, the Halloween, the picnic, the village fair and so on. And that's been enormously valuable, not only in building community, but also in raising funds for us. Ryan Hawthorne has been our tech go-to person, advising us what to use, what not to use, and how to use it. Pulling out his hair in the process, because many of us are not technologically enamored, shall I say. Josh Wrench and Maurice Homewood, who stepped up to Safe Parks when James Burling left the neighbourhood. And as we've seen certainly over the last year, a lot of change that's going on. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but the difference I think has been immense. So thank you to Josh and to Maurice. Justin McCall used to look after all our social media platforms. He and his wife bought their first home together a couple of months ago, so he's no longer in the neighbourhood, but in his absence, thank you to Justin. And then also to Ryan Beach, who is looking after our Smart Grid Go Green project. He's one of those people who, will go away, work very hard behind the scenes, and then suddenly come up with amazing things. So although we don't see the meetings terribly much, we do know that he is keeping busy. Lastly, I'd just like to say Parkhurst is perceived to be a very well-heeled, mostly yuppie sort of environment. And as a committee, we've worked very hard to change that perception. We're young, we're old, we're wealthy, we're poor, we're employees, we're employers. We can afford private health care, we also need to rely on the clinic. There are many, many different communities in Parkhurst, and we want to work very hard to ensure that all of those communities are visible. It's not just the property owners who are looked after and are acknowledged. It's very important that we get our friends, our neighbours, people who work with us, people who work for us, to become involved and to claim this community as their own. And thank you to everyone who helps make this possible. So to Parkhurst, thank you very much. Okay, I'd now like to move on, please, and get a very high-level outline of the finance reports that Zeb will present on behalf of Andrew, who's delayed at work. The full audit report was available online, and you can still access it via parkhurstvillage.com and click on the link there. You'll be able to.
Hi everyone. I'm going to read Andrew's report, and if you have any questions, you can email him at parkhurstvillage.com. So I'm just going to give a brief overview, and I think we'll keep referring to the 2014 and 2015 financial year just to show how we've grown and what has changed. And this report is on the 2015-2016 financial year that ended in February. Our turnover has gone from the previous year, to 2014 to 2015, to the current financial year, has moved from 90,000 Rand turnover to 1.3. So So as you can see, there's a significant jump there, and mostly that's because of Safe Parks and the Parkers Village Fair that the last 2 years have played a significant financial role in what's happening in Parkhurst. Also our membership keeps fluctuating, and an increase due to contribution from events, like I said, from Parkers Village Fair, and membership decreased by 23,000 rand. But I think Safe Parks is making up for that at the moment. Our operating expenses went from 41,000 rand to 1.1 million rand. Again, it's because of the Parkers Village Fair and Safe Parks. There's a much more detailed report, like Cheryl said, online that has been audited. So you're welcome to go and take a look at that as well. And then our auditors was Jay Turon, and you can go and have a look. And then I just want to talk about the last 6 months as well. So currently, up until September 2016, we have a surplus of 372,000 rand in the Praboa bank account. Again, this is because of Safe Parks and the Village Fair. And it was decided by the committee that we will have a war chest of 100,000 rand to look after legal and objections or anything that might happen in the neighbourhood, and a 75,000 rand for operating expenses for the next 18 months. So everything is looking healthy in Parkhurst, and and thank you for everyone who's been working on Safe Parks, and also obviously the Village Fair Committee, and so that has made a significant contribution to Parkhurst.
I think also, just the last thing on finance is that that money is not sitting there just doing nothing and earning interest. What we are planning to do is get some ideas in terms of projects from the community as to what you've seen done. We've also got some great ideas, and we hope to get the most as possible out of the funds that we deploy into the community by perhaps having sort of work days where people from the community come together and actually do a lot of the work themselves. So we really want to make that money stretch. It might sound like a lot, and it certainly is a lot compared to the couple of thousand we used to have a few years ago, but we are cognizant of the fact that we still need to make it stretch a lot longer for that. The events, yes. I think what I'd quickly like to do is just give you a brief idea in terms of the work that the Gazette's done for events. Just a very brief overview of that, because I think it does warrant particular attention.
Okay, so in terms of events, our two big events are the Parkers Village Fair and the Halloween. The Parkers Village Fair is very much where we're trying to raise profits to put back in the community, and also where our Halloween is mostly a community building exercise. So there we don't look as much as raising money, but just raising a sense of and building on the spirit of the community. Just some historical overview on the Village Fair is that in its current form, we started it in 2014, and we built on it significantly. And in 2015, which is the financial year that's just been reported on, we made a 206,000 rand surplus with the Parkers Village Fair, which has gone into the Praboa bank account. This year we made 120,000 rand profit. As you can see, it went significantly down. However, it was still well attended. But it was decided that going forward next year that we won't continue with the Village Fair because of the amount of time and effort and also the cost involved in having the Village Fair. And also we can't bargain on the attendees as well, because I think we had 2,000 less attendees this year at the Village Fair. And that's also due to a lot of markets that are going on in Johannesburg at the moment. So I think we need to think outside of the box, what other community projects we can take on, how to raise money. It's maybe time to move on from the Village Fair.
I think when we started the Village Fair, it was the only one of its sort. Everyone's doing it now, and it's time for Parkers to be innovative once again and have everyone follow on with it. So it's not a bad thing.
And then the Halloween this year again was a massive success. I think we had over 150, 200 odd children on the day that walked through the streets of Parkers, and thank you so much to all of the houses that participated. Our expenditure there was only 2,500 rand, and we also raised 3,400 rand for the Santon SPCA on the day through donations and through all of the participants. And yeah, that was another great community building event, and people opening up their houses where you get to know your neighbours. And I also just want to say a big thank you to everyone who worked on the events committee this year. It's a really hard job in the late evening hours, especially with the village fair, but we really appreciate everyone's help with that. And then,
I was going to ask Lizette under general to announce our Halloween winners. Do you want to just quickly announce them while you say?
So we had a competition with Halloween, and it was for best house and best dressed girl and boy, and then best social media picture. And best house went to Marty Epstein in 7th Avenue, or 7th Street, sorry, 7th Street. And then we had the headless girl, who was the best dressed girl. The Butcher Boy. Yes, Butcher Boy was the best dressed boy, and then our social media winner was the Star Wars. Yes, the Star Wars couple, the dad and the daughter. So thank you again for everyone that took part in that and for your continuing support.
Okay, thank you, Lizette. Right. We only need to have one other very brief report from a committee member, that's Greg, in terms of town planning and building. The rest of the reports are online. If there are any questions about the other reports and other portfolios, we will take them under general. So, Greg, for 3 minutes of stardom starts now.
Yeah. Your time starts now, long what did I have? Yes, it's quite right. I do have to keep my day job. But this job involves me probably about 2 hours a day at least. Can you all hear me? I normally do shout. For those that don't know, I look after infrastructure like town planning, rezoning, signing off of building plans, regularising building plans for people who said, I didn't know that I had to have plans, and I didn't know that I could do this and that and that. And so we go on and on and on. So we have various stages of all of this. We also have people who demolish houses and plant first and build new ones and say, I didn't know I had to get permission to demolish a house. So not everybody does it the way of Mr. Gentleman sitting here, who did it the right way, and others. And so I've got a constant battle with this all the time. I mean, we even have cases in the house next to the Texas Cafe, which has been demolished. The man doing the building work, who supposedly the owner, isn't the owner, somebody else owns the house, but he's got some arrangement. And I've asked the council to stop the job. They're too terrified to do it because there's a political issue with the current owner. So we try and cut through all these things as best we can. Sometimes I get threatened. Been threatened about 3 times this year. Things happen. We also have very, very corrupt plan runners who are in cahoots with the council, and they charge for the heritage sign-off and the plan regularising anything from 10 to 20,000 rand, and our unsuspecting residents pay the money in fear. And somebody inside, we can't prove it, signs off the plans, but they don't have our signatures on them. Without that signature, you will never sell your house. Michael Capella will be witness to that. That is what is happening in the situation. Anyway, that's that side of it. Sometimes I feel we are a suburb under capture of all of this. People come in, they build a big house, they sell it, they have no consideration for the neighbours. I try and block windows as best I can, overlooking privacy and that sort of thing. And then you get the most humble people who come along and comply 150%. We have just signed off the as-built drawings in the house for the most humble of people, which is north of, I'd say, 17 million. How's that for politics? So you see, those that have it, don't flaunt it, do it the right way, and we have this magnificent house, which could actually be worth more than that, which is now finished. A couple of other bits and pieces. I'm looking at saying to people, let's give an amnesty for those that don't have plans that comply, and we'll work it out with the council and we'll do the amnesty, say to the end of April next year. Because there's a lot of work involved. I've signed off between 45 and 60 plans in the last 6 months, inspected every single one of those houses, gone there, looked, argued, fought, agreed, and I'm not unreasonable, but I always try and protect the surroundings in the neighbourhood, but you can't always win every instance because we don't have town planners supporting us for overlook windows, this problem, that problem. But we do our best. Then, the town planning thing, the good news is the investor who owns 2 properties, 7th and 8th, 8th and 9th. 8th and 9th, they wanted to buy 2 houses for parking, so they could use the restaurants, or you could use, transport the restaurant rights, and we managed to get that set aside, if you can't buy residential site and use it for parking. Okay, just a few more things. We avoided fraud or corruption at the clinic. They were doing an extension. Tim Trulak asked me to investigate and meet the builders, which I did. And I discovered, to cut a long story short, that the builders had been paid 100% and they hadn't delivered 2 consulting rooms. So we put a little bit of pressure and those rooms are going up now. I valued the job, and I'm in the building industry, R500,000 it was signed up for $1 million. I don't know where the money is going to, but we will get to that one of the days with the new mayor and see what the story is. Signage, Cheryl and I are going to debate the situation for the future of signage in our suburbs, streetcar signage, large signage, and we want to have a look at it. We are oversigned for such a small residential suburb. The river smell, 16th Street, 5th Street, I'm aware of. I'm looking at something along those lines. I also would like to see, and this is my personal opinion, speed bumps on 4th Avenue, which is something we might have to have a look at. Then, the old bowling club, the dump. Pirates are possibly the likely successful tenderers to redo that and extend the club and look at various facilities like horse stables and horse riding, which will extend up the delta, which looks rather nice, and the proper soccer field and various other amenities. I think quartet dogs will be there, will be kennels there, plus maybe the SAP. Yeah, I know it's one, but anyway, it's a work in progress at the moment, which might happen, but we're ongoing knowing what's happening, and we'll do that. Then, anybody can contact me. The last thing is this: ask me what you want me to do as far as infrastructure building is concerned. Don't talk to me about rubber on pavements. I fight all the time and leave notices. That's what I am trying to do. But if there's anything you need done, you want me to look at, anybody's got plans that they want regularized, inspected, neighbours pissing you off, tell me about it. There's lots we can do. Okay, thank you very, very much. I am prepared to stand for re-election because I've got so much outstanding work, so better than mine.
Okay, well, thank you, Greg. Greg, as you can see, does keep very, very busy. What I'd like to do now is move on to general. Are there any questions? And what I'd like to do is perhaps take all the questions and then we'll answer them in one go so that we don't get sidetracked by sub-questions, sub-questions, and sub-questions. Are there any questions or issues that you wish to raise in terms of the report for the request?
Thanks, Chair. Chair, as you all know, the city has a new mayor. Sorry, this is a statement, but I'll have to
introduce yourself. We know you.
I'm Colin. I used to be on the Residents Association. I stay in 11th Street. And as I said, we've got a new mayor. The new municipal budget comes about in March, April. Now, the new administration is very tightly bound by the IDP, the Integrated Development Plan. So please don't come in July next year and say, hey, we need speed bumps in 4th Avenue. When Praboa, I assume you will be, Madam Chair, putting together an IDP submission, please put your requests into, work with the Praboa, get it into the IPD so that the new administration can do what's required. Thanks.
Thank you. Great comment. Thank you. Any other questions, issues?
I'm speaking on behalf of somebody who lives in 20th Street. There has already been a post on our podcast about the roof in the rec centre hall, and I think Tim did deal with a lot of it, because I'm not sure that that's in your, but the person asked me to bring up the fact that apparently the rec centre has got a R2 million thing to use to upgrade, but they're not using it on the hall, they're using it on kitchens and bathrooms, which apparently is not that urgent, and apparently the whole roof is dangerous to the municipal hall, quite apart from the fact that it's leaking buckets, like 28 buckets.
Okay, I'll address that. Are there any other questions that we'd like raised? Any other issues? No, fantastic. There are two things. There is a I haven't seen what's happened to the budget because I know that it always gets changed and funds can be withdrawn and so on. I haven't seen in the last 6 weeks what is happening with that. There certainly is a budget that's being deployed. I did allude to the fact that we might have some exciting news about the rec centre in the next couple of months. We have been working with one of the property owners along 4th Avenue who was very keen when after I had a meeting with him to explain that part of the challenge in Parkhurst is trying to marry the needs and the concerns of both businesses and residential properties. Because of course, businesses constitute under 5% of the total population of Parkhurst, yet the impact is felt very widely. And I said to this business owner that one of the key things is that we're always expected to absorb as residents the impact on businesses, yet we don't see a sort of a quid pro quo. So we'd like to see something given back to the community. Before having had to deal with, parking issues and noise issues and so on. And this particular person, I suggested the rec centre, and there's been a big survey done, all the work has been costed, and that work will look at replacing the kitchen, it will look at replacing the flooring, it will also fix the ceiling, and a number of other things, but this is completely separate to the budget allocated by the city. So it looks very, very promising that soon we'll have a recreation centre which is in much, much better nick than it is currently now. I think the only negative of that is that it will become even more difficult to get a room there because try as you may, you need to book ages in advance to use, so that's great. Okay, thank you. That was very, very efficient. Last thing is in terms of the nominations for and voting in on the new committee. In terms of the committee, Lizette unfortunately wishes to retire, but we will continue to try and twist her rubber arm and we'll see how far we get. I'm very, very hopeful, but a little bit of red wine will persuade her otherwise. In terms of our constitution, you said Joshua and Andrew, is that correct? Joshua and Marius?
I gave you this.
Yes, no, you said Joshua and Andrew must step down, are available for re-election, and then again under re-election. For re-election, Andrew, Cheryl, Greg, Natalie, Josh, and Ryan, if we can still persuade you. Thank you. Got the BDI. Chris, would you like to just confirm? In terms of our thing. And are there any, what I must please put out into this meeting, and if you can spread the word yourselves, is we desperately need people to help us on portfolios. We do try and keep committee meetings short, and we do try and do things also online and so on. So if there is any particular project that you feel passionate about, that you'd like to get involved in, even if you don't want to sit on the committee itself, we'd very much like to hear from you, if it's about, saving the Rotary parakeets from Rotary parakeet pie, or whatever the project is that you particularly have a passion for, we'd love you to get involved, because it's enormously important. I know Natalie is particularly keen on getting people to help her on the environment portfolio, and I'm sure you are.
From the environment portfolio, you need a new committee member for the
yes, Natalie is threatening to abandon us, and the spray will become completely sewage bound, and litter will pile up in the streets if nobody volunteers. So how's that for a reservation? Chris, would you like to come so we can see you?
It's very simple.
Right, yes, Chris?
Yeah, all right. We've got 6.
Chris,
Sorry, difficult. There are 6 current committee members who have to retire, but can be available for re-election if they wish. Andrew Watts, Cheryl Labuschagne, Greg Hershen, Natalie Zimmerman, Ryan Hawthorne, and Josh Wrench. In addition, we can take nominations from any other people as well. We can only elect 7 people at this meeting. Yes, the remaining. The system is that committee members are elected for 2 years until the AGM in 2018. That way we keep a corporate memory. We haven't got employees to keep corporate memories, so we make it that the committee members are lumbered with staying for 2 years, and about half of them retire. And other people, we seek nominations from anyone else who is mad enough to want to help. I think I wasn't meant to say that.
No, I think the word you were looking for was amazing enough and incredible. Yes, thank you.
Yes, all right. Consider that I misspoke. Okay.
Sorry, can I just ask who are the members that are staying on for the year?
I can't hear you.
Who are the members that are staying on for the year? So that would be Paul. Right, let me go through them. The people staying on. Chris. And is there Greg? Paul.
No, Greg has been.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
Paul.
Paul. And that's it. Yeah, and Ryan.
Ryan Beach.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this meeting isn't allowed to elect more than 10 people to the committee, but the committee can be up to 15 people, so we are allowed to appoint more people if there are fools whose arms can be twisted to take the job on. There's a committee meeting immediately afterwards where we can elect them.
For 3 minutes. Are there any volunteers? Are there any suggestions? Are there any comments about this process?
Can I nominate the people who are there to carry on standing as a whole?
Please do.
Right, that's what I did.
Right, seconded by anyone? Oh, those were quick. We'll take a leave here. I think we have a leave here, yes.
Yeah. Are there any other people we can twist?
Morris?
Yes,
he's already on.
We do need volunteers, please. Now share the load. It's easier if you share. If somebody takes over the environment...
I am told Marius was on the committee.
Yes.
I thought he wasn't, in which case he has to retire too.
But he's standing again. I heard him
Standing.
Re-nominated.
Okay, are there any objections to any of the proposals? And if not, maybe vote. May I have a show of hands in support, please? Okay.
You're very unprocedural since you're being elected yourself. I don't know.
Are there nominations? Thank you. Oh my God. Well done.
She's actually volunteered her husband. I'm not sure she's going to...
Excuse me, please come to the committee meeting and we'll vote you in then.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm being procedurally incorrect. However, are there any objections to any of the nominations? Speaker. Yes?
Not an objection, an additional point.
Yes.
People who don't want to be on the committee but want to contribute to things like the events or the environment portfolio and things like that, please won't you just also stay behind and give us your names, and when those committees meet you can be involved.
Absolutely. All right, we consider the names mentioned duly elected, and unless there's any other business, we can conclude this AGM in absolute record time. So well done to all of you. Thank you for coming. That was 35 minutes since we started.
one appeal. If you do have any questions, shout, preferably by email.
Yes.
And if you, and the other thing, please, any safe parts, accounts, queries for debit orders to admin@parkersvillage.com. People, things have been going astray and it causes trouble. We like to be as efficient as we can. And incidentally, you may be pleased to know that we have an excellent compliance for our debit orders. There are under 1% rebounds, which is very, very good.
Great. Thank you all. Oh yeah, you're all staying. That means we've got a hell of a lot of new volunteers. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.